All right, y'all, back to work. We got one day left coming tomorrow. Non-farm payrolls on Thursday morning. And man, these markets, they just keep on grinding higher the entire week this week. I'm sure everyone right now is waiting to buy that nice deep pullback tomorrow and early next week. But you probably know this already. Buying pullbacks, buying the dip, it sounds very easy. But if you have any trading experience, you know picking that perfect pullback entry, it's a lot more difficult than it sounds. So in tonight's video, I want to talk about some of my favorite entry tactics so you guys can pick that perfect pullback, make some money on Thursday, and have a fantastic holiday weekend coming up Friday into this weekend. So charts are ready. Enough of the intro. We got one day left. Let's make the most of it tomorrow morning on Thursday morning. Boy, I tell you, charts look pretty darn good tonight though. S&P SPY ready to go tonight. NASDAQ triple Qs are always ready, aren't they? We have three important clues on these charts tonight that are telling me where I think the money is made tomorrow morning. First of three clues right now is here on the hourly time frame. We are bullish on the S&P SPY, bullish overall on the NASDAQ triple Qs. I like to use the hourly chart as an overall directional filter. It's pretty obvious right now. One big clue for tomorrow is the buyers have all the control right now of momentum. The second clue is over on the calendar. Tomorrow is a jam-packed day before the holiday coming up on Friday. There's four things on my mind for tomorrow. 8:30 Eastern time, employment number at 8:30, jobless claims at 8:30. Later on in the morning, ISM services tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. And remember, tomorrow is an early close, 1 o'clock Eastern time. The NYSE closes early. Remember, that employment number tomorrow is kind of the big kahuna, the biggest jobs number we've seen all week. We saw JOLTS on Tuesday, ADP today, and the employment number comes out tomorrow. All three of these are pretty important as far as the rate cuts coming later on in the month. In fact, I'm sure everyone is tuning in tomorrow to see if that employment number will be as soft as we saw the ADP employment number that we saw this morning, and maybe J-Pow, maybe too late J-Pow as Trump calls him, maybe that'll be enough to kind of nudge J-Pow to cut some rates for us at the end of July. Also, don't forget too, we're also watching closely right now that vote on the House floor tonight. Will they pass the big, beautiful bill, or will the House put together some resistance? Big news tomorrow. Remember, get in early because we've got that big early close at 1 o'clock Eastern time. That's our second big clue for tomorrow. Expect some fireworks around that non-farm payrolls tomorrow morning. The third and final clue now are down on some tick charts. I like to use the hourly chart as an overall directional filter, but we don't trade time charts in our trade room. We trade tick charts. Tick charts, by the way, make entry timing a whole lot easier. And in case you're watching for the first time right now, that is a 7,000 tick chart. All the time frames there, upper left-hand corner. And that, my friends, is the 21 EMA. It's the only indicator we need to find consistent profits each day that we trade. There's one really big clue right now on this tick chart right now. It is a big move going higher here right now. Now, big moves, really big moves, they tell us there's two types of strategies that we use for tomorrow. The first one is really just a two-legged pullback, right? Think about a big move going higher. Everybody wants to buy a dip right now. And one of the most common ways to trade a big move is to trade a two-legged pullback into a bear trap. Think about a measured move. When I say two-legged pullback, think about a measured move, right? A, B, C, D, between you, me, and YouTube, my favorite two-legged pullbacks go a little bit more than that 100% extension. But the goal in this one, though, is very simple, right? Get that two-legged pullback, bring down that 21 EMA, and look for a bear trap. Just like we saw this morning after the opening bell. As it pulls back, bears once, higher high, bears twice. Remember, all of that momentum wants to go back up and take out that recent high and potentially those all-time highs. So once those bears get trapped in, I'm going to squeeze those stops. Because think about this. If you're caught short and you get stopped out of a short trade, what happens? You buy your way out of that position. Buyers enter the market once those bears get stopped out. And remember, where's the market trying to go right now? It wants to go up and take out those all-time highs. So if we get that beautiful bear trap, look for some add-ons. And to do that, I'm looking for some separation. off that moving average, a higher high in price. Remember, guys, the easiest way to turn a winning trade into a make your week winning trade, big profit winning trade, is to add to your winners. In our trade room, we call this a bear trap and an add-on, and the goal will be to leave that runner up around that all-time high. That is one version of a two-legged pullback. But here's the reality. Sometimes we don't get that bear trap down there. Sometimes we get a beautiful two-legged pullback, but because everyone's waiting to buy the dip, we don't get the chance to trap the bears in and squeeze back up. It just whoop and runs right back up again. Remember, if this thing really slingshots down and then pops right back up after non-farm payrolls, I'm looking for bear traps here, but I'll make a small adjustment. I'm going to draw a trend line off the highs. I'm going to bring that trend line down off that low, just like that. Now, very important, look left, find some prior swings, and I want to get in, ideally, I want to get in below a prior swing, and I want to do it right off the first touch of that channel. We call this first test is the best test in our trade room. So that is a small variation of time in the entry. Again, expect a two-legged pullback. And again, this is just one of two strategies I'm looking for here on the S&P for tomorrow. So V bottom off of that low, don't miss that first test, is the best test. Now, let's not forget, we have big non-farm payrolls tomorrow morning. So would anybody be surprised if we saw a really strong shot going lower, get a nice bear trap down there, bears once, bears twice, and pop this thing back up? Now, what happens oftentimes is, if we see a really strong shot down, again, think about that news tomorrow morning, 8:30 and 10 o'clock Eastern time. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we saw a strong run down. We get a nice, beautiful bear trap, get our 1-to-1 first target, get that stop up to point of entry, the same technique I teach, by the way, inside the free video course. And remember, whenever we see strong moves in one direction, oftentimes it'll run right back down, retest that low before we resume the overall bullish trend. If you watched last night's video, we talked about this technique on the NASDAQ chart in last night's video. This is the same idea here on the S&P. These are some of our favorites in our trade room. We call these retest trades, right? They run down, we bear trap them. It's a winning trade, but it's not gonna rip back up and take that high out. It then holds, it retests that low. Now think about this. Anybody who sells short up here, where's their profit target? Yeah, it's back at that low. It's very important that you understand anyone who sells here, they become buyers down there. What do you think? Is that a good place to sell? Not in a bull market like this right now. No way. Which means it's a great place for, you guessed it, a bear trap. I'm going to do the exact same thing once again. Bears once, higher high, bears twice. Why higher high? I want their stops. I want those sellers to be in pain. I want them to have no choice but to buy their way out of that position. And as those stops get hit, what do? We add more as it runs up, separates off that moving average, and we look for that add-on. And again, leave that runner back up to retest those highs all the way up to those all-time highs. I'll tell you right now, I would love a retest trade to pick that perfect pullback tomorrow morning. Now remember, this is just one of two strategies to pick perfect pullbacks we'll talk about tonight. Before I dive into that second strategy, let's pause for just a second here, because I know most folks watching right now, you guys know these patterns, you're making money with these already. But if you're tuning in for the first time right now, this might be a brand new strategy, a brand new language, right? What are two-legged pullbacks? What are bear traps? How do we add to our winning trades? Don't you worry, I cover this entire roadmap in a free trading course. In fact, I have a ton of examples of all of these entry tactics I'm talking about. Guys, the markets are way too good right now not to be banking consistent profit. So what I'll do is I'll put a link up top here for you. Upper right-hand corner, hit that link that popped up there. Take that free trading course, because the strategy I teach in that video series will teach you a simple trick we use in our members trade room that literally tells me exactly where the winning trades are going to be each day. You'll laugh when you see how simple that technique is. More importantly though, I want to teach you all my 4 favorite entry setups so you can time better entries, make a lot more consistent profits. Guys, if you're still missing the best entries each day, if you've lost your confidence in your indicators or your current strategy, hit that link that popped up there, pause the video, hit that link, watch that free trading course. It will change the way you look at trading for the rest of your career. The best part is it's completely free for you. Also be aware to keep in mind too, guys, I'll put all the important links you guys need to learn this roadmap down below this video in the description of the YouTube video here tonight. Again, start first in the free video class. Most folks, they start making money all on their own, all from that free video course. So start there first. And don't forget too, guys, I post a lot more often on Twitter or X in between these YouTube videos. If you're on Twitter X, give me a follow. You're going to love that feed on Twitter. Again, all the details you'll need to learn more, hopefully earn a lot more because of it, are posted below the video tonight here, description of the YouTube video. Okay, so I want to pause there for a second because I know a lot of folks are watching here for the first time, and sometimes this is a bit more advanced than people are used to on other YouTube videos. Okay, where did we leave off? Okay, I talked about I've got 2 types of strategies whenever I see a big move going higher like this. One of them is a 2-legged pullback, right? Again, a measured move, bear traps, add-ons, back to retest the high. The second one, you know what though? I don't want to forget one thing though, before I forget here. Sometimes we don't get that deep pullback. Sometimes all that happens is we get a 1 shot lower and it pops right back up. We'll talk about this a bit more in a moment, but if all we get, again, remember, I want a 2-legged pullback to buy nice and low, right? Buy nice and low. If all I get is a 1-legged pullback, like for example, off this channel, for example, right? Off that beautiful range right there, we may see a lot of buyers that come in right there. We may not get that second leg going lower. If that happens, if all we see is a shallow pullback, what happens is now I'm not being given a chance to buy low. And so I make a small adjustment on the entry. It's very simple. It's a higher high in price, basically bears once, bears twice. I want to buy now underneath that low. Okay, it's very important. Remember, on this one, my risk reward ratio, if I buy up here, if I buy right there, my risk and reward ratio is not great. You're not going to get a lot of people attracted to trades like that. But if I time the entry properly, if I get in underneath that low, now see, look, right? Now my risk reward, see, now that's a trade professionals are going to wait for. And when you trade with professionals, you'll get the benefit of the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? You're trading with rookies buying up there, right? Professionals are buying down there. So just one small caveat there in case we don't get that 2-legged pullback, a 1-legged pullback, or a shallow pullback. It'll be that what I call in the free video course a technical bear trap. Okay, that's a basic variation there for us on a shallow pullback. The second type of strategy for tomorrow is a range up here. In fact, with non-farm payrolls tomorrow morning, this could easily be the case that we get for tomorrow. Now, ranges. If you're a student of mine in our trade room, or if you've gone through our free video classes, you know how much we love ranges. Because why? Because ranges, they love to rotate. So if we see a range develop overnight here, ranges are going to want to go lower and rotate back up roughly the amount below to the amount above. You can see, for example, right, that range below me there, I've measured the amount below, I've measured the amount above, right? I like to use, we call these pendulum swings in our video classes. So if we understand that basic principle, remember ranges love to rotate, right? They love to rotate, and we like to use symmetry back and forth to measure that rotation for entries and for exits. So if we understand that, the second game plan I'll be watching for tomorrow is to wait for a breakdown, look for what is basically that same exact game plan, right? That same exact bear trap, bears once, higher high, bears twice. Now again, I don't like to use indicators. Indicators are not consistent enough. Sometimes they work, but a lot of times they don't. You know, the problem with indicators is you're always either too early or too late. I like to run stops because again, if I can catch those bears trapped in here now, I can buy into those stops. It's very important you understand the dynamics there. When bears get stopped out, they're forced to buy their way out of that position. That's why these bear traps work so well, especially well, by the way, in a range market. Now, again, as we go higher now, we're not just trying to go back to that high now. Right? This is why ranges are a lot more lucrative in our trade room, because now the amount below, the amount above now we know where it wants to go. And now as we rotate higher, and these are great entries too, because now we can add to our position, higher high in price, shallow pullback, and we're letting that sucker run all the way to the other side of that trading range, right? Again, it's a bear trap and an add-on. And remember, all the same variations of this can also apply too, right? If we ran lower and then popped up hard, think about that V bottom, find that new channel. It's all the same techniques. The only difference now is that, again, this range is going to want to rotate the amount below, the amount above, back up again. So any of the variations of these two-legged pullback entries I mentioned earlier can be applied here on a range. Now, one thing to be cautious about here is that knife cuts both ways. So if we see a range here overnight into tomorrow morning, again, non-farm payrolls, we may see a range here. Remember, if we go higher, this could also, again, that knife cuts both ways. So now the amount above, see, these are some of our favorites in our trade room, because I can guarantee you right now, when this thing goes up and rotates off that high, this is going to fool a lot of inexperienced traders. This will feel very bearish. It will feel like a reversal, but now you know too much, right? Now you know better. Now you know it's not a reversal. It's a range rotation. This is why range is so important to learn, especially if you're, 6 to 24 months into your trading career right now. These are more advanced tactics. So again, the amount above the range, the amount below the range, same idea, right? Trap those bears in and then squeeze those stops and rotate back up. We go from there. Boy, I tell you, if the trading gods are shining down on us tomorrow morning, we'll get a range here tomorrow around that non-farm payrolls and ISM service. So keep it in mind for tomorrow. Those are the two scenarios I'm looking for on the S&P for tomorrow. How about some NASDAQ though? The NASDAQ has really diverged very significantly away from the S&P right now. S&P is this big move up right now. Let's go grab the NASDAQ right now, because I'll tell you, the NASDAQ, there's a lot of great clues right now on the NQ. Now, I have a lot to cover on the NASDAQ. Before I dive into that though, if you're enjoying tonight's video, please help me grow this channel by hitting that like button and make sure you subscribe. I know we're all busy people these days. I know it's a holiday weekend coming this weekend, so I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching all my videos here this weekend. So as always, thank you guys so much for the likes, subscribes, all the ongoing support in the comments. I feel the love in the comment section every week here. So thank you guys so much for all the support here on the YouTube video. Now, I promise I'm done begging for likes and subs. Let's dive in and talk NASDAQ here. Are you seeing this, by the way? First of all, look at the range right here. Look at this range. We popped up. Look at that range right there, and look at that pendulum swing coming off of that low. Now, it might be early for that right now, but are you seeing that too, right? 23,165. That is what that range tells us right now. So don't be surprised if by early next week, we're punching our ticket around that pendulum swing going higher. Again, pendulum swings, range rotation works on all time frames, right? That range now wants to rotate right there. I would also say too, one side note too is that range right there. Keep your eyes on that 22,781, 22,762 and a quarter, because what's that doing right now? That's a breakout pullback zone, right? That area right there, that is a breakout pullback zone as well. It's a bear range rotating off the low in an overall bullish market, breakout pullback off that previous range. Think about tomorrow morning, non-farm payrolls tomorrow, strong shot lower, breakout pullback, and we finish off that rotation going higher from there. Boy, oh boy, that would be an exciting ride on the NASDAQ. Let's talk tick charts though, because in all reality, as we always say in these videos, the hourly time frame, the 6-minute time frame, we don't want to get too far into the weeds on that. The hourly chart is really just used for overall direction. More important clues, the entry tactics are used here on the tick charts, and you'll notice right away here, it's a slightly different tick chart there, a 4,000 tick chart here on the NASDAQ right now. And by the way, what a beautiful, we talked about this last night, we mentioned this earlier on the S&P here, strong run down, there's that retest trade. This is why we love retest. Remember, we mentioned this last night on the video, if I have a bullish market overall and a strong shot down, all of that bear momentum is going to want to retest that low, retest trade before we go back up and basically resume the overall bullish trend. I had a lot of emails, a lot of comments on the YouTube videos. Last 24 hours, you guys making good money off that retest we talked about last night on the video. Okay, two big clues on this NASDAQ right now. One big clue is it's a pop-up into a channel. We call these spike and channels, right? Pop-up, spike and channel. Now, spike and channels, they tell us to look for entries below these prior swings where the channel and the spike come together, right? Where the channel and the spike come together. So right below that low right there, that would be a beautiful bear trap zone. That's one big clue right there, that spike and channel. My favorite clue though, and we touched on this on the hourly time frame, is that range right there. That rotation off that low. Again, you'll notice the amount below, the amount above. Is there any surprise? We're stalling out in this area. There shouldn't be. Bottom line though is that's a lot of separation, a lot of strength. It's probably a breakout. A breakout will want to what? It'll want to breakout pullback around that 745, 718 area. So knowing that right now, I love the idea of buying a breakout pullback. And remember, we're not going to blindly buy down here. You can if you want to, but I would rather wait for the pullback here. Let the bears try once, let them try twice, because guys, I don't have a crystal ball. It may keep going lower. I'm not going to blindly buy into it. It may keep going lower there. So as it pulls back, bears once, bears twice, I squeeze those stops. I force sellers to buy their way out. And again, as it runs higher, we're looking for that shallow pullback that separates off that moving average, just like over here, right? Just like right there where that shallow pullback, it doesn't pull back all the way to that moving average. That is exactly what I want to see over here. So shallow pullback, higher high in price, that sets up for the add-on. And again, the goal on this one is back up to retest the high and leave that runner. Always leave that runner. Bear trap, add-on as go back up to retest that high. The second one here is that shallow pullback, right? That shallow pullback in that bear trap zone. Now, we talked earlier about this on the S&P, right? If all we see is a shallow pullback, I make a small adjustment, right? Because of what? Because of risk reward ratio. As it pulls back here, it still bears once, it still bears twice, but now I got to get underneath that swing, right? Why? Because where's the target? The target is back to retest the high. If I buy up here, my risk is bigger than my reward. That's no bueno, right? If I buy down here now, now my risk is much smaller than my reward. You can build a career on trades like that. Those are almost guaranteed winning trades because everybody piles on to that good risk reward ratio. I hope that makes sense. That dynamic, again, it's a bit more advanced, but I hope you guys can learn from that and time better entries. Deep pullbacks, right? Deep pullbacks, bear trap, squeeze back up, right? Risk reward, great, right? Fantastic. But shallow pullbacks, got to be a little bit more careful. Here's something to think about too. What if we keep grinding higher right now? You know, what if we keep grinding higher? If we keep grinding higher right now, does anything change? Nothing changes. Okay, nothing changes. If we grind higher, I simply keep looking for below prior swings, right? The base of that channel, that's the money spot on a pop and grind channel like that. Get below that area, trap those bears in, and whoop, right back up to retest the high. The only other variation of this would be, and again, go back to the hourly chart right there, I would not be surprised at all if this thing rips for tomorrow. That should not surprise anybody because of the way this range rotation is setting up right now. So knowing that there's plenty of room to stretch our legs going higher here, if we were to see a very strong breakout going higher, what would I do in that situation? Well, this is why I had that range right there. Because what do ranges do? They love to break out pullback. Okay, what do big moves do, right? What do big moves do? They love to two-legged pullback. So the magic in this situation is if we do see something that jumps higher up here, now I do not want to chase after it. And I'm definitely not trying to short this thing. We're definitely too bullish right now. Try picking tops in these markets right now. You probably learned that lesson the hard way the last few weeks here. But again, think about now that range, that breakout pullback, that big move higher, that two-legged pullback. And again, where's my 21 EMA? That's the key on these. Bear trap them in once, twice, two try, bear trap, and then run back up to retest that high. Again, add to your winner. I won't go the whole thing once again here, but add to your winner as we go back up to retest the high. And again, remember, oftentimes, well, think about this, right? We went from a range here, pop up, range here. What would happen if we pop up into a range up here? What would happen right now? Well, this range back here is a breakout pullback, right? This range right here, see, now you're getting this now. This new range wants to rotate. See, we call these stacked ranges in our trade room, right? This range right now wants to go lower and rotate higher, right? The amount below, the amount above. In all reality, this is the easiest condition to make money with. I know a lot of folks are scared of ranges. I used to hate ranges. But once you kind of understand how they work, once you crack the range market code, right, this gets really easy, okay? So same basic idea again. Use that range now as the breakout pullback. We wait for the pullback, rinse and repeat. Once you learn the power of bear traps and add-ons, and you learn how ranges work, you will keep on milking this cow. You'll keep on ringing this bell. You'll keep on pushing this button over and over again. It works so well. So keep in mind out there, right? If it does pop up into a range, it's a bear trap, breakout pullback, add on to it. And again, ranges are my favorite because we know where the market wants to go. It wants to go all the way up now and punch that ticket at that pendulum swing. So leave that runner. All right, guys, I'm getting excited for tomorrow. Don't forget though, tomorrow, half day tomorrow. Got to be early. Don't be pushing stuff too late. Tomorrow morning, and of course, tomorrow night, there'll be no video tomorrow night because we have the day off on Friday. I am wishing you all a very happy holiday this weekend. Back on Monday, get a big week next week. That's the game plan though. And speaking of which, guys, the place to be tomorrow morning is in our trade room, 8 o'clock Eastern time. The easiest way, start making money in these markets to learn and trade along every morning at the opening bell. Again, I'm going to put all the important links you guys need to learn the roadmap, and you're going to love the free video course. Enjoy all those trade examples I include in that short video series. Then come join us sometime soon in the morning room, and we'll do it together. In the meantime, guys, be well out there. Have a great holiday weekend. Be nice to each other, will ya? And you better be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.